so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Thoughts for Rent, Realtors Keeping It Real. I am Ireland, and this is
Jenni McKenna, keeping it real, baby. See my little real dance? There we go.
And she's come back with a little bit of a tan. So she was on vacation. So she's back now. Where were you at?
I went to Jamaica.
How was it?
It was so relaxing. It was so nice. Max, who just did an episode a little earlier, he looks so dark and tan, and he made a comment about it. He's like, yeah, we just got back from Jamaica. I look like I've been to Jamaica, but this one doesn't. And you know what I said? Because I use sunscreen, which you should use.
True.
You shouldn't burn your face like that.
We have some tanning competitions in the office, though. We have some pretty good tanners in the office. And so the big thing is always who can get as tan as Max in the summer. So it's a pretty consistent challenge that people try to do.
And he's got a pretty darn good head start since we were just in Jamaica for 10 days.
So they were in Jamaica also during Easter. And while you were in Jamaica, any fun, exciting news that you received on vacation?
I've done a lot of vacations, obviously being owner broker of McKenna Property Management. And one of the things is I have the most amazing team, and they allow these vacations to happen without having to call me, email me, text me. So really, I get to go down there wherever I'm at and not worry about work. So when I got the call on Monday, I was like, what the heck? And the call was this. Hey, Jenni, I hate to call you while you're on vacation, especially because it was the last day of vacation, but we've been robbed. And my heart just went right into my stomach. Honestly, I almost felt like I was going to throw up because I was like, are you kidding me? We knew on Sunday.
And we've been at this location 10, 12, 13
I'm going to say,
years?
I think this is year 11.
Year 11.
Year 11. Yeah, because we're in 2025. So yeah, it's year 11. And we've had little weird things that have happened. The funnest one, or the funniest, I shouldn't say it's great, but it's funny. We used to have a slot in the front door where you could just drop the rent checks off into the front door. And this was years and years ago. And we came in one Monday morning and there was those pixie sticks, those really big pixie sticks. Somebody had gummed it together. They had chewed gum, put gum between 3 pixie sticks, stuck it into that thing and retrieved some cashier's checks and some rent checks. That one was, but they got him, and they actually, Walmart actually cashed him, which is beyond me. So there's always been little weird things, but nothing like a full break-in. So when I got the call on Monday, it was awful.
Yeah. So I came into the office on Monday, and there's 2 entrances, and I always take the side entrance because it's the closest one to my office. And as I'm walking through the side entrance, there's all this weird gunk on all of the doors, almost as if someone took a mixture of flour and water and then just splashed it on the doors. So at first I was like, why is all this nasty gunk here? It was on the main door and it was on the side door. I end up coming into the side door, and then I end up going into my office, and 3 of my drawers are open. And so, which I'll come in after a weekend because we have cleaners and things will be moved around. And so I kind of was not shocked, but I also was they're usually not disrespectful, but they're not this obvious. It's papers that have been shuffled around, not full cabinets open. So I was like, this is strange. And then as I was going to close all the cabinets, I noticed that one of my only Mont Blanc pen was missing because I kept it in the drawer in the Mont Blanc container. So then I immediately thought, oh, someone in the office is pulling a prank, and they stole my pen, and it's an Easter Sunday prank. So I'm getting ready to go to our morning huddle, and I'm going to basically accuse the whole office of stealing my pen and make whoever took it give it back. And as I'm on my way to the morning huddle, one of my coworkers hey, just so you know, there was a break-in in your office, some drawers are open and stuff. That's why it looks like that. We wanted to leave everything the way it was. So then I was like, okay, I guess I shouldn't yell at anyone that they
Doesn't
stole
it-
my pen.
Doesn't it feel weird that after you found out somebody was rummaging through all your stuff and stole your Mont Blanc, don't you feel like they invaded like your space? Isn't that weird?
Absolutely. And I definitely they are not including the software and not including the things that the company provides. That was the most like expensive thing in my office. But I have some like, I don't know, my diplomas in my office, and like I have a couple like figurines in my office. So I kind of was a little nervous that they had taken more. I guess they didn't want my diploma. They just wanted my pen. So I didn't have to worry about that.
The funny thing is they took the Mont Blanc, and then this beautiful laptop was sitting right behind it, and they didn't even touch this laptop.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It definitely, we have learned more information since then. We have learned that we weren't the only one that got hit in the building. The building consists of 3 other companies on the downstairs, and then the upstairs is being completely rehabbed. It's a fertility clinic that's getting rehabbed. So there's tons of construction work that's going on there all the time. They're about 90 days from being finished. So we found out that the mortgage company across the hall got ransacked. They got all of the monitors. They dug in all of the drawers. They took personal information. It's really pretty bad. And then we talked to the medical facility that's behind us, and they also got a little ransacked, but more about prescription drugs, not like, oxycodone or anything like that, but just some kind of prescription drugs, and also some computer stuff. Yeah. So the fact that we got, and I feel bad that Ireland lost her Mont Blanc.
Stolen,
but the fact
not
that
lost.
that they stole that. They ransacked a couple of our drawers. And then the biggest thing is they took keys for our vacant homes.
Yeah.
And that was the bummer. And we didn't even realize that until we were preparing a key bag for a resident to come in and get.
So I think it worked out. Again, good karma, and just all around. It was a bad situation, but it was the best of a bad situation because we found out same day. All the keys were a vacant unit, so we were able to get them all rekeyed. Nobody had to necessarily be involved in that process because nobody was living in the homes. But we theorized, because the way it happened is the power had gotten shut off. And so that's kind of how access was gained, was because electricity was down. So when you bring up the laptop, my laptop sits on top of a like stainless steel black fridge.
Uh-huh.
So because there was no light in the office, my theory is that they didn't even see it because it was just blending in, and they were like using flashlights and they just like didn't even notice.
Ireland, you might be right, because your office has absolutely no outside light.
Yeah.
It has no window or anything else. It would all be artificial lighting.
Yeah. So I've been playing detective for like the last 7 days, just coming up with my theories of what happened and what's been going on.
I think we all have, and we've all been kind of talking to everything. But this is the thing that I don't like. We know that we were targeted, and it wasn't just random. And that bothers me a lot. So we know that obviously the Sunday that it happened, it was Easter Sunday. And they cut the power, because I talked to the detective. So what they did is they actually cut the power, and then they must have known that all of our alarms, which we just now learned, actually only have a battery life of somewhere between 4 and 8 hours. And then after that, you have no eyes anymore. Your alarm is done. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I didn't realize that criminals would see, the things you learn after you get burglarized, you're like now in the mind of a criminal. When they cut the power, anything that was a timed lock in the community area is opened up now in case of a fire. So we have these doors that get locked at, I think it's like 6:00 p.m. and they don't open up again until 7 a.m. It's always given me a sense of security that not just the general public can be walking in and out of those doors to gain access to our side door. Well, when you cut the power, the magnetic strip no longer keeps the door closed, and you're vulnerable. And that's how they were able to get in and do so much damage without anybody from the street seeing what was going on.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Ireland, I'm frustrated. So everyone that's listening to us knows we're in property management. We bust our butt. We have after hours emergency lines, right? If somebody's got in one of our residential properties, let's say the washer starts overflowing and the resident doesn't know what to do and there's water going everywhere. Would they be able to get a hold of us?
As long as they call the after hours phone and does the proper procedures, then yeah, they would.
And what would we do, Ireland, to make sure that the damage of what was going on wasn't going to continue?
We'd try to walk them through turning off the water to just the appliance. And then if they kind of have an issue with that, then it would be turning off the water to the whole unit. And then once we actually stop the leak from happening, then it's a matter of getting a professional vendor out there to keep doing the work and figure out the rest.
So it sounds like you would have jumped onto something so that you could avoid more damage, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not what happened in our situation. So we knew the building didn't have power on Sunday morning, Easter morning. Whole entire building doesn't have power. We know that because our alarm notified our team member, our office manager, saying there was something going on with the alarm and that needed to get looked at. So our office manager, being vigilant, came down to the building and realized, oh my gosh, there is no power to anyone in this building, but there was power everywhere else. She called NV Energy. NV Energy said, oh, no, your meter still has power. We haven't shut the power to your building. So NV Energy is still reading that this is still a building that has power because they cut it the exterior line. We reached out to our property manager, and our property manager didn't call back. 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, Alonda continued to leave messages. 3:30, Alonda finally said, hey, we're very vulnerable. There is no power on the building. We don't have an alarm on our office. I think you need to send somebody over, and you need to send somebody over ASAP. You need to call me back. And it was a very forceful, you better do this because I've been patient. It needs to happen. Ireland, did they send anyone?
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
No. So the property manager finally called back at 3:30 and said, oh, you know what? I think that's a normal power outage. And Alonda said, no, I've already talked to NV Energy. It's not a normal power outage. So then she said, oh, yeah, I guess we should send someone over. And Alonda said, okay, well, I'll wait here. I'm here at the building. I'll wait for them to come because once they put the power back on, our alarm would have been on. The magnetic doors would have locked. Everything would have gone back to security. So she said, no, you don't need to wait. They know exactly what they need to do. We hung up. 10:30, Alonda came over. Building still had no power. The property manager decided not to send anybody over. Ultimately, we all got robbed. A little frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't care. I don't care. It's just one of those things. The first thing I said is I don't know all those details. So I guess I don't have the ins and outs. I don't have the phone receipts. I don't have any of that communication. All I know is that if I did say I was going to send somebody out, I would send somebody out. I just don't know. That wasn't my story. Like, I don't know what Alonda went through.
I just get frustrated because as a property manager, we work so hard for communication with our residents. We really stay on top of anything that somebody would have called and said, we have no electricity, or there's a leak, or anything that could do possible damage. We jump on it. It's an emergency. And I feel like we were just passed over. It was Easter. This person didn't want to deal with us. It's a commercial building. So a lot of times there's not a lot of emergencies. We deal with a lot of emergencies because we have individual houses. But I mean, I'm still paying rent. I'm still a resident here. I still would like my office to be secure. I'm paying for power to be to my office. So I'm a little frustrated. I got to tell you, I think this could have been totally avoided. Granted, I know it was a professional job. But I think that if the power had gotten turned on Sunday, which it was absolutely could have if she had sent somebody out, we could be sitting here today without a podcast talking about our burglary.
Yeah.
So, a little frustrating. I can't believe you're not frustrated.
I mean, I'm not. Everything. I guess I can't speak about the other companies because they got hit more. But at least from what I know, they never gave you like an emergency line, or they don't have a protocol for. I just feel like commercial's so different, and I'm not saying that commercial places shouldn't have an emergency line.
They
because
should.
They should, and everyone should have that, necessity. But if we signed a lease and didn't receive the emergency information or how to, like, that's what I'm saying, is that when we onboard or sign a lease with someone, we tell them exactly how to reach us if there's an emergency. We, as people, didn't ask those questions when we moved in because
True.
we made the assumption everything was going to be okay because it's just a commercial building.
But we did find the emergency number, and we did call the property manager. It took us a little while. It took us from about 9 a.m. to about 11:30 a.m. But we did ultimately get that number. And then the individual just decided that it wasn't important enough to do anything about. But with everything life throws you, there's always a lesson to be learned. And I do think we learned some good lessons from this. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So as Ireland has already explained, her Mont Blanc stolen, ruffled through a couple of our drawers, took our vacant keys for our vacant properties, for our residential properties. But one thing that I never realized until this happened, we were always preparing key bags for residents so that it would be super convenient when they come in. All the keys would be tagged with the address of the property, front door, back door, garage door, whatever it is, mailbox key, all very clearly put on the key tag. We're not doing that anymore, are we, Ireland?
No.
No, because we realized if we get burglarized and they take those darn keys, they have the address of those properties. So luckily we got that fixed immediately, and all of the vacant properties have got rekeyed. But I just want to make sure that if this ever happens again, we don't give carte blanche access to our vacant properties. That is kind of stupid, but I never even realized that could have happened.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. And we're going to make sure that we change our protocol and our procedure on that. And now all of our properties will have codes that will be on a doc spreadsheet that only team members will have access to. So if they come in, swipe the keys, they're not going to know what it's for. They're just going to have a fancy key in their hand.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like you learn things from things that life throws you.
Life teaches you the most lessons.
That's right. So I'm grateful that this lesson wasn't catastrophic. It is disturbing. It's frustrating that, how it transpired. But the overall answer is we learned a great lesson from it. It's going to make us better in our company. We actually have done a little extra for security. So we've added those protocols in place. So yeah, I think that overall it was actually something that was a benefit. And I look at it more as a blessing now.
I think that's fair. It's probably maybe also why I'm not as frustrated as you are. You just live and let God.
That's because she's much more mellow than me. I'm a little high strung most of the time. Ireland is just we'll just flow with it. She's like one of those, what is the 1970s, the hippies, just love life. All is great. That's Ireland for you. I'm a little bit different.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Oh, that's right. She's peace and love. All right. So that's what has been exciting for us. Lessons learned in life from our burglary. Unfortunately happened over Easter, which was kind of a bummer. But other than that, we're hanging good and doing well.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Oh, there you go. Sound good? Okay, good. I'll pass over to Ireland. Here you go, Ken.
Thanks, Pops.